What is good, y'all? This is your host, Easy.
And this is Lou, the digital doctor.
And we are the Full Blitz Podcast.
Full Blitz Podcast.
Welcome
What's
back,
poppin',
y'all.
Mike? Nailed
Lou.
it.
Nailed it. How you doing,
That's
bro?
good. Chilling, man. Had a wonderful day today. It was
That
a
is
beautiful
amazing.
weekend out here in Southern California.
Man, let me
That's
tell
it.
y'all. So I was talking with him. I think it was yesterday, and he's like, "Man, yeah, I got some time. I'm on break." He sends me this picture.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
picture.
this cat is like sitting up on a mountain. I think it's a sand dune or something, but it looked like a cliff. Okay.
Yeah, so that was
Beautiful
PB.
water.
That was Pacific Beach.
Yeah, it was
man.
beautiful.
At the end there, they got these cliffs you could go up. People do yoga and all types of stuff up there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful.
Gotta come out, man. Gotta come out. Check it
Bruh,
out.
so I was stationed out in California, and I got to go to San Diego one time when I had
it's not
a
enough.
medical procedure, and I'd love to get back out. I want to go up to Northern California. The wife is a big wine person. Get out to the vineyards and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
right up like an hour away. They got Temecula and all that right here in this valley. They got all the wine vineyards and stuff.
Yeah, and that's why if y'all haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, click the notification button, make sure you following us on TikTok and Instagram. And remember, if you ain't rocking with us, start, because we only getting better. And once y'all start rocking with us, I can get out to California.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
let's
saying?
make it happen. We can start doing these in person, man.
Hey, I'd love to. Speaking of in person, I noticed, I'm sure y'all noticed, we are missing our co-host, Tony Ford. Today is his day off. He will be back with us next week. Look forward to having him back. So, but we got a great show for y'all. We got into the AFC free agency last week. We're going to get into the NFC this week. We're going to look at the March Madness brackets. We got you Ain't No Way. But first, there's a story that I just kind of came across, really, on the 14th of this month. And this is what shows me that I have been working way too much. But it was a story that broke about ex-Steeler and Jet Le'Veon Bell, who was ordered to pay $25 million in damages to a family member for supposed essay. And this story was put out by CBS Sports. There's a lot of things on this story that I find really interesting, not just from the aspect of, again, how long it takes these things to come out, but the legal aspect. When you read into this story, which I recommend all of you do, the lawsuit was filed in March of 2024. The victim accused Bell and his younger brother, Levante, of engaging in non-consensual sexual relations that began when the defendant was 6 or 7 years old and continued through at least 2017. That right there is wild to me. That
What?
this could potentially, like 6 or 7 years old. And,
Dude,
we're talking about a guy who, for a short period of time was considered one of the best running backs in the NFL, has had a short, like amateur kind of celebrity boxing career. Now, with all of that being said, his lawyers have, denied all of this. But the problem I have with some of these things is, so apparently the lawsuit was filed and the summons was sent to an address that, according to Bell's attorney, he has never lived at. So because he didn't know he needed to be there, the court ruled in favor of the defendant. And Le'Veon's lawyer put out and said, "My client is in the process of filing a motion to open and reverse the default judgment because the narratives of the case have never been litigated." So here's my thing, right? And Louis, maybe you could help me out here. If something has never been litigated, how can you award somebody $25 million? And then his brother was ordered to pay $11 million. So $36 million in total ordered to pay to this person. And the case has never even been litigated. How do we do that? How does that even make sense?
Does that mean that they just admitted to it? Like it didn't, they just Didn't go to a trial or something?
Yeah, so because he didn't show up, right, for the summons
he didn't show up.
He didn't show up because apparently, according to his lawyer, he never knew about it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't show up, and then his brother is also saying he never got a summons. How do you just say, okay, you got to pay this person $25 million because you didn't show up? Like,
yeah, what is that?
I don't understand.
Are they trying to get him to show up? Is that like they just like, yo, listen, here, you can show up and deal with it, or you go?
Basically, what it says since neither Bell brother responded to the lawsuit, a default judgment was ruled in favor of the plaintiff, not defendant, plaintiff. Sorry, y'all. In October, the trial determined damages took place without the brother, or the trial to determine damages took place without the brothers present, according to the court documents. So because they didn't know about it, they weren't there. But it already.
Know about that?
And what's crazy is it already has.
Did they actually send a summons? Is that like what?
The Bell brothers' lawyers are saying they never got a summons, right? So, but what I think is funny is Le'Veon Bell's former high school, Garver Port Madison, located just outside of Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I saw that.
Removed his name from the stadium. That in 2017 he had donated $750,000 to cover the installation in synthetic turf. So now we're damaging people.
Been litigated.
And nothing's been litigated. Nothing has been proven. Nothing has been, said that this is happening, and you're damaging his reputation out in a public space. How is that? Like, how do we allow these things to happen? Have we not learned? Have we not gotten to a point and place where when it comes to these types of cases and these types of situations, we need to let the full legal course take its run before you start taking people's name down? Or now I get that it was a default judgment. That's why that amount was ordered. For all we know, it could have been set that high to get their attention, to try to get this to court and figure out exactly what's going on. But I'm just confused, man. I don't understand why we're still at a point where we are publicly putting these things out about people when nothing has been proven. And SA and all of these other types of allegations are damning. They're hurtful to people's career and to people's lives. We've seen numerous athletes have their lives and their careers ruined over false allegations of the R word, So I don't know, man. I saw this story and I wanted to speak on it because, again, with everything going on, whether it's the Deshaun Watson, whether it's the Justin Tucker, you got the Georgia football players that none of them seem to be that should be able to have a license or a car. They've had like 25 kids in the last 2 years either get arrested for speeding, DUI. Like, we should take cars away from college athletes altogether.
Imagine that, though. Bro, just take the keys away. Y'all focus on football. And just focus on the game.
The last player, it just happened like a week or two ago. The dude's first name is Nitro.
I'm dead. Of course he gonna drive fast. You should have never got him a car.
Bruh. Yeah, and with all this NIL
he should focus
money,
on running fast.
With all this NIL money, these kids are buying Corvettes. They're buying Mercedes.
Those new Corvettes are serious, bro.
What do they? I think they max out at like 240, right?
Like they are so insane.
Stupid
for
fast.
A kid to be driving it, and it's probably like their first car, second car, or something.
Stupid fast.
Scary.
I ain't got to worry about it.
I wouldn't want to be on the road like that with them, bro.
I can't fit in them, so I ain't got to worry about it. I legit can't fit in them. No, bro. My cousin owns a 2017 Stingray.
Yeah.
And the new Corvettes are a little smaller than that in the cab, and I barely fit in his.
Yeah, but they got the convertible joints, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that's exactly what I want to do is have half my head sticking out of the roof. Yeah. That,
why you going 120?
yeah, that sounds terrific. You know them rocks that shatter your windshield? That shit hit me right in the forehead.
Ooh, you need to have goggles.
Yeah.
Nah, they shouldn't have those cars. And of course they shouldn't get them.
They should.
Of course, they, you know what I'm saying, enjoying their life. So they're going to be out there wilding.
Wilding, bro. Just wilding. You know, and we wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time on the Le'Veon Bell thing because that is more of a kind of a negative aspect, kind of like the Justin Tucker thing. And y'all know we like to keep things light, keep things positive here on the Full Blitz. But comment down below. Let us know what y'all think. Should this kind of stuff be put out like this before litigation processes have been able to, you know, run their course? Should they be able to put a default judgment out there? You know, because the court of public appeal is bigger than anything. And the public sees that, oh, well, he's got to pay $25 million. They don't read the story. And, you know, now there's a narrative pushed out there that may not necessarily be true. So I always encourage anybody that listens to us here at the Full Blitz, do your own research. Okay. Don't take what we say to the end all be all or any other news outlet. All right. With that being said, we have got to hop into the NFC's free agency because, whew, man, when we was looking at the AFC, that you had a few teams that kind of went in. You had a few teams that made some splashes. The NFC, they went crazy, especially the NFC East. I mean, each of the NFC East teams, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, and the Commanders just kind of went in. You know, we'll start with Dallas because what's crazy is they signed a boatload of free agents, but in all honesty, looking at this list, I'm looking at maybe two that are significant, and one of them is a re-sign, and that's Osa. I'm not even going to attempt to butcher his last name. You know, signed a 4-year, $80 million contract. It's a re-sign. They drafted him back in 2001. So they're getting him re-signed off of his rookie deal. He's been good for them, you know. I think he's had about 13 and a half sacks throughout his career with Dallas. He's been a steady presence, and I think he deserved the money he got. He's a good interior run stopper. You know, he's got 13 and a half sacks. He's looking at 151 total tackles. I mean, that's a solid defense interior for the Cowboys. So I think that was a priority for them. But after that, when you look at some of the people they signed, I'm just kind of confused at where we're at. I mean, Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, you know, those are the running backs they brought in. Now, they did trade for Kenneth Murray from the Titans. Murray, I liked him at times, but he wasn't what we thought he was going to be coming over from the Chargers. And, you know, re-signing Turpin was massive. That's the other big one, and he's also a re-sign. Turpin was a game changer in special teams. He got 3 years, $18 million. He started to develop late as a really good 2 option. Plays really well in the slot, but his absolute value comes as special teams. And I mean, I think Dallas fans have a right to be upset. You know, you get the big name with Dante Fowler Jr., but again, that's a 1-year, $8 million deal on the edge. I think he's going to be a good kind of other way from Micah Parsons. You can have him on the other side. He will draw a little bit of attention. So that defensive line, it could be something, but I don't know. I'm not thrilled with the moves they made. I think that they had a lot of other people that they could have gone out, free agents they could have gone after, but they're not the only ones. Like I said, this entire NFC East just signed people. You got the New York Giants. Obviously, the New York Giants' big signing right now is Jameis Winston, the 2-year, $8 million deal. I like that signing. And it's not that I like that signing so much for Jameis Winston as I like that signing for Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, although Jameis Winston still has an issue with throwing interceptions, he could be considered a gunslinger. And with the way Malik Neighbors plays, he likes to get downfield. I think Jameis is going to be a really good option for him, to get the ball, depending on what the Giants do at 3. If they try to trade up or if they hope maybe Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders falls to them. Getting Darius Slayton re-signed, veteran presence, 3-year, $36 million. I didn't understand signing, Tommy DeVito. Maybe they gave him a good hometown discount. I don't know. Zach Pascal, I think, is a solid 1-year deal. I like a lot of the guys that they went out and got. I like the fact that they re-signed Chris Manhertz, tight end. They went out and got some tackles. I think that's good. They really beefed up that defensive side of the ball. Now, how many of them are going to work? We don't know. You got Roy Robinson Hayes, 2-year, $9 million deal, could be up to $10 million. Jeremiah Libretter, so I mean they signed some decent people. We'll have to see how everybody pays out. But of course, on that defensive side of the ball, their big signing was Javon Holland, 3-year, $45.3 million deal. I think he's going to play well with them, but the Giants just seem to really be a mess right now. When I look at that organization, they seem to be a mess. Two organizations that are not a mess are the Philadelphia Eagles, who we all know the big contract they gave Saquon, the 2-year extension worth $41.2 million, obviously worth it, And then they got Lane Johnson to a 1-year contract extension. The deal adds $8 million to his over the next 2 seasons and an additional $30 million in guarantees for arguably the best tackle in football. Then from there, for me, the two that stick out the most are obviously Zach Braun, re-signed for a 3-year, $51 million deal. He was arguably the best middle linebacker in football, right? He was a contender for Defensive Player of the Year. So, I mean, I like that one. The one that's weird for me, and he's coming back to the Giants, or he's going to Philly, is Adoree Jackson. And that's a guy the Titans drafted, so I'm obviously real familiar with him. He hasn't had a lot of success. He's a good guy to have come off the bench. He's a good guy to kind of get in there, maybe on third downs, some zone, 3rd and long. But other than that, they really just kind of beefed up their edge with some role players. Nothing crazy, but again, signed a bunch of people. And then you got the Washington Commanders, who really went out and said, hey, we got a stud in Jaden Daniels, and we are going to absolutely put everybody we can around him. They get Marcus Mariota re-signed for a 1-year, $8 million deal, potentially his last contract. Love him, obviously, as a former Titans. You get Jeremy McNichols on the re-sign for a 1-year deal. That's going to be good. I do think the Commanders are going to go running back at some point, maybe not the first, but the 2nd round. And then you get Noah Brown re-signed. You get KJ Osborne re-signed. You go get Michael Gallup. That is a phenomenal veteran presence. You trade for Deebo Samuels, and you get him for a 5th round pick. Like, and we're going to get into San Francisco because, in my opinion, they are absolutely falling apart. But you get Deebo Samuels on a 5th year or a 5th round pick swap in a trade. You go ahead and get John Bates re-signed, Zach Ertz re-signed, which is big for Jaden Daniels because it became very clear late in the year that Zach Ertz was 100% his safety net. There's no question. You get the Lamar Tunsil trade, which, again, you get a tackle that's going to give Jaden Daniels some more time. You re-signed Trent Scott. You got Nate Herbig, and then you get center Michael Dieter. They did a phenomenal job of getting Jaden Daniels some weapons and getting him some protection. It is obvious that the front office and the owners for the Washington Commanders are so much better than what they previously had with that last regime. So happy to see that organization getting it together. All right. Then, I mean, they went ham They went crazy on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, they got Bobby Wagner re-signed. That's big. I mean, they got themselves some role players with Jalen Holmes, Sheldon Day. I mean, they just went absolute ham, and I love it. That shows that they know what's up. And Javon Kinlaw signed a 3-year, $45 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. That's a big pickup on that defensive line as well. So, hey, I think Philly and Washington just kind of took a step up. I think Dallas is still kind of stagnant right there, and I think the Giants are still at the bottom, and I don't think that's really going to change even in the draft unless New York jumps to get one of those two quarterbacks, or they think that maybe a Jackson Dart or a Jalen Milroe is the way to go. The division, starting obviously with the Chicago Bears, is the NFC North. Why is it obvious that we start with the Chicago Bears? Because they're another team that has a rookie quarterback going into his second year with Caleb Williams. I loved what they did in the sense of they looked at their issue, which was staggering, that it was their offensive line. And what did they go do? They went and got Jahan Jackson in a trade with the Rams. They got Joe Tunnel, I believe, with a trade with the Chiefs. Then they went out and signed Drew Dalem, a center, 3-year, $42 million. They made it a point to say, hey, we have weapons. And they added other guys, right? It's not like they didn't add any, playmakers. Second option, third option guys. But they looked and said, our offensive line was atrocious. We need to fix that. Let's pay attention to it. And I think they're going to pay attention to it in the draft as well. So, and they made a few moves. They obviously got Grady Jarrett on a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. Deo, another last name I'm not going to try to say, signed a 3-year, $48 million deal. So they went out and spent some money, and I'm proud of them. I really am. I think Chicago may take a step up. We'll really get to have an opportunity now to see if Caleb Williams is as good as people say he was or say he is. All right. You jump over to the Detroit Lions. I really wouldn't say they did a whole lot as far as signing free agents. They re-signed a lot of their guys. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. 8 of their guys were re-signs, and good for them because Detroit is right there. Detroit, there isn't a piece, whether it be in free agency or the draft, that Detroit was going to go out and get, and people were going to be like, that's the piece that they need, right? They just need all of their guys to show up when it's time to show up, and it wouldn't hurt if they didn't get hit by the injury bug as often as they do. You got Hutchinson coming back. So excited to see him get back. So I'm really, really excited. I think the re-signing, or just the signing that Detroit did all together that I loved the most, was Dan Skipper. I love this dude. Offensive tackle, comes in. Everybody remembers him from, the game where he supposedly didn't report. The replay shows that he did report. I absolutely love Dan Skipper. I love the attitude that he plays with. He really plays with that, Detroit style of ball. So not really much to report with Detroit. Jump over to the last team on the NFC North side, and that's the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers really didn't do much. The big thing they did was their offensive guard. They brought in Aaron Banks, 4-year, $77 million deal. You got Nate Hobbs, cornerback, 4-year, $48 million deal. And those were really, and then, of course, re-signing Brandon McManus, who's been a real steady field goal kicker for them at, 3 years, $15 million. And that wasn't the last team. I apologize, y'all. I forgot about the Vikings. And the Vikings are a team, they just signed a bunch of people. Re-signed Aaron Jones. They acquired Jordan Mason, a running back from the 49ers that I really, really like. I think he's going to fit in really well with the Minnesota Vikings. Then when you're looking down, I really like the Will Fries, offensive guard, 5-year, $88 million. his style of play, I think, is going to fit with what Minnesota wants to do. And I think they wanted to make a point because they also brought in a tackle, a center. They wanted to make a point to protect J.J. McCarron. He's obviously their future. He obviously is going to be at the helm, and they want to make sure he's protected. What they did on the defensive side of the ball was another one that re-signed some of their players. You know, you got Harrison Smith returning for his 14th season. This is the kind of guy that I like. Dude that's been in the league forever, and he's played his entire career with one team. I absolutely love that, right? And I'm excited to see how the rest of this team comes together through the rest of the offseason. And I'm excited to see what Minnesota does with the number one pick. They got their number one receiver. They don't need to draft a running back. Is it potential that, you know, maybe they go cornerback, or do they try to find a tackle late in the first round to continue to shore up that offensive line for J.J. McCarron? It's going to be kind of curious to see, but we'll see what Minnesota does. All right, y'all. Kicking back in this, we looking at the NFC South. All right, we're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons. They kind of made some moves in the fact that I think that they know that Michael Penix Jr. is their future. They went out and re-signed Storm Norton, offensive tackle. They also got Jake Matthews re-signed to a 2-year, $45 million deal. So that's big. You know, to know that you have for sure at least one of your tackles, you know, for your second-year quarterback, because I don't see one. I need to say this outright. I'm surprised that Kirk Cousins is still on the team. I figured with the contract that he had and how bad he played at the end of the year and how, you know, the positives you got from Michael Penix Jr., I figured they would try to trade him, but I didn't see anybody taking on that contract. But I thought they were going to go ahead and cut him to save themselves some cap space, because right now he looks like he's going to be the most expensive backup in the NFL this year. And that's just crazy to me. So they definitely wanted to shore up that offensive line. They went ahead and got some of their defensive side taken care of. They needed to get some edge rushers because they lost some edge rushers. They lost Judon. Carter just signed with the Titans. Morgan Fox, I like Morgan Fox. He has been a strong role player, signs a 2-year deal worth $8.5 million. And then other than that, they had some okay, you know, your Mike Hughes is an okay cornerback signing, 3 years, $18 million. Probably not going to be the guy that they look to, you know, shut people down, but he's a physical player, so I like that. Other than that, Atlanta was pretty quiet. Carolina, on the other hand, I love that they re-signed Andy Dalton to a 2-year deal. They signed Rico Dowell. I'm a massive fan of Rico Dowell. He was with the Cowboys last year. I had him on my fantasy team. I think that is a real solid signing, and I think that is going to be a really good 1-2 punch with Dowell and Hubbard. I'm telling y'all, if Carolina's offensive line can keep it together, I think that they're going to have a fantastic rushing attack, because Bryce Young can also run. And, you know, I'm super excited to see what that offensive line does with those two guys running the ball. Other than that, you're going to look at Tershawn Wharton, signed a 3-year, $54 million deal that beefs up that defensive line. You got Bobby Brown, nose tackle. I love when you see a true nose tackle, right? You don't see him too often anymore. When I was growing up, we had guys like, you know, Warren Sapp, who would really move in, and he played the interior, but he loved getting into that defensive or that nose tackle. You had Vince Warfolk. I loved guys like that. So to see Bobby Brown, who is a true nose tackle, get a 3-year, $21 million deal, I absolutely love that. They brought in safety Trayvon Morgan. Y'all already know what it is. Signed a 3-year, $51 million deal. Max value is $60 million. So you could tell that they went in with the intent to really beef up and keep that defense where it needs to be. How do you know that? J.C. Horn got signed a while back, but you can't talk about Carolina's free agency without talking about it. 4-year extension, $100 million, $70 million guaranteed. Might be a little high for him. Might be. Don't come at me if you don't think so, but I'm just saying might be, right? But we'll see. I like where Carolina's going. I think they know that they got their quarterback. They got their running backs. They're getting that offensive line together. They're bringing in some run stoppers. Patrick Jones, the second, 2-year, $20 million at the edge, is real good at getting at the quarterback, real good on third down, real good run stopper for an edge guy too. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch in the NFC South, which is wide open. I mean, it is absolutely wide open. And then when you look at the New Orleans Saints, the guy that they drafted to begin with, a guy that's been around the league nonstop, Brandon Cooks, signs a 2-year deal. Personally, I hope he retires with New Orleans. This is where his career started, so I hope he retires with them. The signing for me that I love the most with New Orleans is Juwan Johnson. They have him listed as a tight end, but he's kind of that hybrid tight end wide receiver guy. Doesn't really run the crispest routes because he's a big dude, strong hands, but he's a good 50-50 ball, and he got a deal that I really like. 3 years, $30 million, max value of $34.5, and he got $21 million guaranteed. He's been with the Saints his entire career, and I really like Juwan Johnson. I like the way he plays. Again, not the crisp route runner, but he's a tight end. Again, strong hands. He loves to block. I like him. Cam Jordan coming back for his 15th season. Again, another dude like Smith from Minnesota, all with the New Orleans Saints. Okay. When I look at Cam Jordan, though, his age is really showing. He's not as quick off the ball anymore. He doesn't really have that rush, that bull rush that he used to have. So I don't know. I think that this could potentially be his last year. You can see them potentially getting ready for that with the re-signing of Chase Young to a ridiculous 3-year, $51 million deal worth up to $57. He has not done anything in the NFL right now to say that he has warranted a 3-year, $51 million deal. When you take his contract and compare it to other edge rushers, that's just, I get it. Edge rush is a premier spot. I understand that. I understand that if you want to have guys that have the potential, he's still kind of young. I get it. But that's just wild, And then you get Justin Reed at a 3-year, $31.5 million deal. I think that's a great deal for Justin Reed. I think that this is a guy that's really going to shore up that back end for them with their DBs. He plays hard. He's not afraid to stop the run. He's got great hands. His instincts are phenomenal. I really like Justin Reed a lot. Coming in with Tampa as we round out the NFC South, they did a lot of re-signing, which I don't think anybody really has a problem with. Of course, the big one, you re-sign Chris Godwin, 3 years, $66 million deal, $44 million guaranteed. When you look at the caliber of wide receiver that he is. Now, obviously, Mike Evans is the one in Tampa, but if anything, Chris Godwin is a 1A. And you get him on a 3-year, $66 million deal, so you basically get him at $33 million or $22 million a year, which is a steal when you look at what T. Higgins just got. Now, I'm not saying that, Chris Godwin is better than T. Higgins, but, I don't think they're that far apart. Maybe y'all think they are. Comment below if you do. If y'all think that T. Higgins is just miles ahead of Chris Godwin, please comment below, because before Chris Godwin got hurt, the dude was having a Pro Bowl type season, and he's been a very solid receiver for him. Sterling Sharp signs a 1-year, $2.25 million deal. People say, oh, that's not a big deal. Again, if y'all listen to me, y'all will know that I love veteran presence on a team. Sterling Sharp is going to be great for that wide receiver room, because then you have him, you have Mike Evans. You got a lot of experience in the room, and you can never go wrong with that. So, that's just me. On the defensive side of the ball, though, they brought in Hassan Reddick. Now it seems like he's somewhere he wants to be, right? He didn't want to be with Philly. Philly traded him to New York. He took forever to sign with New York so he could play. Now he's in Tampa. So maybe he's somewhere that he wants to be now. And if Reddick is on point and he's ready to play, this dude is a game wrecker, okay? I mean, there's no way to get around the fact that even with his short period of time in New York, he played really well. And we all know that he played well in Philly, right? Like, I don't think anybody needs to go back and look. We know that he played good in Philly. But if you want to take a look at it, I mean, he played 10 games with New York. He only had 1 sack, but he had 14 tackles. This is what I'm saying. He didn't want to play. When you look at the rest of his numbers, look at his last year in Philly, right? 17 games, 37 total tackles. But then you slide over, the dude had 11 sacks. He had 16 the year before that. I mean, Hassan Reddick has been a beast as long as he's been in his career. Now, yeah, he didn't play the best in Arizona, but he did have the 12.5 sacks in 2020. So, I mean, I think that this is a great signing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this gives the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a true threat on the edge, and I think he's gonna work out. So, you got Levante David coming back, 1 year, $10 million deal. I'd like to see him retire in Tampa. So, other than that, nothing crazy. Pretty much what you'd expect Tampa to do. I want to know what they're doing in the draft. They got to go defense. I mean, I think they maybe go cornerback, maybe safety, try to pair with who's over there? Not Surtain. He's in Denver. Drawing a blank. I'll catch his name later. But let's move over to the NFC West, right? Got the NFC West. We're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett. Is it just me, or does he not get enough respect? Right? I get that he's been a career backup, but he has started games. He has won games. He's won big games. And I feel like he just keeps getting kicked around, and I hate that. But he did sign a 2-year, $12.5 million deal. It's hard to feel bad for a dude, who's getting paid, $12.5 million to play football. So there's that. I mean, and then they just, Josh Sweat was a big signing for them. They need some help on that edge. They need to be able to get after the quarterback. And he signed a 4-year, basically $76.5 million deal, $41 million guaranteed. So that's a big signing for him. He's a phenomenal edge rusher as well. It's crazy when you look at the NFL and the landscape of it. We all know that the quarterback is the number one position, right? You got to have a quarterback. And then we all have gotten to a point, and I'm there too, where we say the edge rush is the second most important position on the team. You got to have a quarterback, and you got to have somebody that can go get the quarterback, right? And Josh Sweat has done that phenomenally throughout his entire career. So I think that's a good signing for them. I think that's going to help them in a division where none of the quarterbacks are, blazing fast, right? Sam Darnold's not all that fast. Brock Purdy's got some wheels on him, but nothing crazy. And Matthew Stafford is not fast. So getting some guys that can get after him is going to be big. Speaking of Stafford, you got the Los Angeles Rams. They signed Jimmy Garoppolo. Who cares? I think that he was a product of, being in a great system with a great coach. Matthew Stafford, that saga, right? We all remember that saga, waiting, who's going to, buckle, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. Matthew Stafford agreed to restructure his contract to bring him back. I think this might be his last, rodeo. After this, I think he may go ahead and retire. This next one, I for the life of me cannot understand the thought process of the front office with the Los Angeles Rams. You tell Cooper Kupp he's not coming back. A Triple Crown winner, a Super Bowl MVP, right? You tell him that he's not coming back. Reasons scale from, various different things. Some of them is age, some of them his production. But then you go and sign Davante Adams to a 2-year, $46 million deal. Now, I am by no means saying that Cooper Kupp is better than Davante Adams. But you have a guy that's familiar with Matthew Stafford, a guy that Matthew Stafford is familiar with, helped you win a Super Bowl, was a Triple Crown winner, as I just said, which is, I think there's only been like 5 of them or something like that. 4, I think 5 with Jamar this last year. And I don't know. I just thought that, to me, that was a little disrespectful. To me, that was disrespectful on the Rams' part. You kick Cooper Kupp to the curb and you go sign Davante Adams. That's all I'm saying. A little disrespectful. Tutu Atwell re-signs 1 year, $10 million deal. I like that. He is a really good third option. So I do like that signing for them. Other than that, nothing really crazy for the Rams. Nothing that, I would say really sticks out. Now, the team that I think has just been losing all offseason is the San Francisco 49ers. Okay. You lose Deebo Samuels, and that's a massive loss. And some of these trades that they made, it just seems like they're kind of offloading players, right? And then you cut Kyle, Juszczyk just to bring him back, which I didn't understand. You signed Mac Jones to a 2-year, $7 million deal. You could have given him $2 million. Nobody's signing him. Okay? And other than that, what did you do? Like, you needed to go get players. And I get it. You signed Luke Farrell, tight end, 3-year, $20 million deal. Cool. But what are you going to do? And then your explanation is, you build teams through the draft. That's true. You do build the future of your team through the draft. But you could have signed some guys that could help your team right now. You have a running back in Christian McCaffrey who you don't know if he's going to be able to play or not. You never know his health status. You still got to get Brock Purdy under contract. And with the way these contracts are going, you need to do that now. Okay? You sign Brandon Ayuk, and then all of a sudden he's on the trade block. Right? Like, you got an aging Trent Williams who, hey, he's still one of the best tackles in the NFL, but he's getting old. Like, I don't know, man. I'm scratching my head with what John is doing over there, the GM. I'm confused. So I think that, it called me crazy, but I think San Francisco could wind up being in last place in this division, because you can't count out Seattle, right? When you look at Seattle made some moves. They went out and paid Sam Darnold. Now, me personally, I maybe would have kept Geno Smith if you were just going to pay Sam Darnold. I think that people need to remember with Sam Darnold that he has been a beneficiary of being in a system with Kevin O'Connell and that offensive playbook over there in Minnesota. You also had guys like, Jefferson. That doesn't help, or that helps. Hawkinson, that helps. They had guys over there. Not saying that Seattle doesn't have those guys, right? Because a guy we were just talking about, Cooper Kupp, 3-year, $45 million deal. MVS. I like Marquez Scantling. Okay, I think he's an underrated, good 3rd, 4th option. So, I like that. DeMarcus Lawrence, again, an edge rusher that got good money, and I think he is going to fit in well with that scheme in Seattle. 3-year deal worth $42 million. I really like that. You get Jarian Reed re-signed. You get Ernest Jones re-signed. I love Ernest Jones, by the way. He is probably one of the more physical linebackers that we have in the game today, and I love it. I love the physical play that he plays with. That's what Seattle football is all about. It's what it's been about since the Legion of Boom. I love it. So I could see San Francisco being in 4th place in the NFC West. I really could. I mean, it depends on what Kyler Murray does with Arizona. How much does Matthew Stafford have left? And what are you going to get from Brock Purdy? If that offensive line gives him time and guys get open, Brock Purdy's a Pro Bowl type player. He really is. But I like what Seattle's putting together. I'd like to see Seattle go after a running back in the draft, maybe the 3rd, 4th round to pair with Walker. Give him a really power kind of back because Walker's kind of a hybrid running back. So I'm really interested to see what those guys do. Guys, that is your NFC free agency breakdown. Comment below. Let me know who y'all thought was a good signing, who y'all thought was a bad signing. Let me know what y'all think as far as where teams are going to go, where teams are, going to land with their records in their division. Let us know. After the break, guys, we are going to be getting into some of the March Madness, and we are going to take a look at my bracket and see how we doing. Hey guys, are y'all looking to host a small get-together or have a company party coming up? Goodfella Gaming has you covered, offering casino-style parties of any size and for any occasion. Goodfella has all the casino games like blackjack, roulette, craps, and poker. They even have some of the specialty games such as 3-card poker, Let It Ride, and Pie Gow. Not looking to do a casino night? No worries. Goodfellas has a large inventory of bar games like pool tables, air hockeys, and dartboards. Arcade games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and they even have the drivers y'all like Super Bikes and Mario Karts. And we can't forget the number of pinball games as well. Head over to goodfellagaming.com to get your free quote today. And don't forget to let them know that the guys at the Full Blitz Podcast sent you. What's good? Where are all my Birmingham people at? If you're looking for a ride, it don't matter if it's from the store, a doctor's appointment, or you had too much to drink and you need a designated driver. Hit up my guy Trey with Z-Trip at 205-369-3334. He'll get you wherever you need to go quickly and safely. That was 205-369-3334. And ask for Trey. Let him know that the guys at the Full Blitz Podcast sent you.
Yeah.
It's time to look at these brackets. All right. I'm curious. I want y'all to comment down below. Let me know if y'all brackets are busted. I mean, I think ESPN put out that there's only one perfect bracket left, right? Mine ain't looking bad. I got Auburn in the Sweet 16, but I called Texas A&M to beat Michigan, so I ain't get that one. I got Duke, and then I did call Oregon and Arizona, but right now it looks like I'm struggling because I had Arizona beating Oregon, so I may not get that one. I called I had Iowa State beating Ole Miss, but that don't look like that's gonna happen. Or that don't look like it did happen. And let's see what's going on with that Michigan State game. Let me refresh this page, see what's up. I like doing these brackets. I don't know about anybody else, but I like doing them. I don't ever get the damn things right, but it's okay. So Michigan State pulled up, right? But as long as Michigan State wins and they beat Ole Miss, I'm good. I called BYU and Alabama. That was pretty cool. I called Houston, Purdue. I called Florida, Maryland. I'm doing all right. So we did our brackets last week. I'm still looking okay. I'd be happy if I was betting. I still got Auburn going all the way. But what I like, and I hope y'all watch women's college basketball, because this was something I wanted to get into with all of the talk recently with Angel Reese and talking about a strike, and, you know, they want WNBA players making so much more money and this, that, and the third. The product has got to be right, okay? As it sits right now, the NBA is still supplementing the WNBA, okay? You get a higher percentage of the revenue than the NBA does. I get that y'all want to be paid right, and I'm all for that. I want women to get paid. But here's my problem. Speaking of the brackets, college women's basketball is more entertaining than the WNBA. I would rather watch a college women's basketball game than the WNBA. And that's just, I mean, for me, it's easy. It's not even close, right? When you got teams like UCLA, South Carolina, USC, right? LSU with Floje, USC with Juju. I mean, like UConn with, the white girl, right? I forget her name all the time. I know. I'm sorry. The college basketball is better. And if you're not even the most entertaining part of your sport, how do you expect to make all of this money? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Do y'all think that college basketball, women's college basketball, is more entertaining? Let me know what y'all think. Y'all know what time it is. It's that time that we love the most. Okay, and that's right. It is time for that Ain't No Way segment.
Lego.
All right. If y'all didn't know, right, if y'all didn't catch it from last week's show, we have officially had our first listener email the show and give us the story that we did last week. Lily, we are going to be getting that sweater, that hoodie to you soon. Don't forget, as soon as you get it, make sure you take a picture of it, post it on your socials, tag the Full Blitz Podcast. If y'all didn't know, email the show. Link is right, or the email is right here. Okay. Email us some of the crazy stories you've heard. It doesn't necessarily have to be your own personal story, but something crazy that you've seen. Got to have some news clips with it, something that we can look up. Or if it's a personal story, let us know. You don't have to put names or anything. And if it's that crazy, we'll put it on the show. And if it does, we will send you a Ain't No Way official Full Blitz Podcast merch hoodie. This week, we're keeping it sports. And I'm doing this primarily because I'm not a huge fan of one of the guys in this story. Okay. But for those of y'all that didn't know, about, I think it was 2.5 weeks ago, Tank Davis kept his title in a majority draw against Lamont Roach. That if you watched the fight, I would have said Lamont won to begin with, but there was massive controversy because in one of the late rounds, I think it was the 9th or 10th round, okay, Davis took a knee. And when you take a knee in boxing, that's a knockdown. Had he been awarded that knockdown, he would have lost the fight. Now, the reason this is on Ain't No Way is because this is the excuse that was given as to why he took the knee, okay? Boxer Tank Davis blames hair product after controversial title draw. Okay? If y'all didn't watch the fight, all right, he took a knee and the ref stopped the fight and he immediately got up and ran over to his corner. What? The fight's going on. You can't do this. And starts wiping away at his face. His excuse was that it was grease from when he got his hair done days earlier. Really?
That's what is that? What is that?
What is that? What do you mean that you, first off, again, if you take a knee, if you voluntarily take a knee in boxing, that is a knockdown. That and you lose a point for that. it was a majority draw. So if that point is assessed to Davis the way it should have been and taken away, Lamont Roach would have won, giving Davis his first loss in his professional career. So I'm calling bullshit to begin with. But then like, I get it. Y'all don't come at me and be like, oh, you a white boy. You don't put grease in your hair. I don't hear that. I don't hear that bullshit.
Nah.
Okay, we put gel in our hair. We put mousse in our hair. I don't want to hear that shit. Okay? Like,
what?
And what's crazy is he was getting pieced up before he did it. Took a knee.
So wait.
Bro.
They didn't count
ref,
that?
and the ref is sitting here letting this happen.
Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, he's like, and then he don't say nothing, bro. You got to lose a point for that. Like, what
you think the ref saying to him?
He's like, hey, man, like, hey, you put me in
what?
You put me in a tough position. Look, and Lamont Roach is like, bro, he kneeled.
Yeah, he putting him in a real tough position because at the end of the day, that's gonna fall on him.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's gonna fall on that ref, right?
Bruh, and I just like that. I read the story. I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted it to be an Ain't No Way because there ain't no way.
That is crazy. Ain't no way. And then he ended up winning. Or it was a draw by decision?
It was a majority draw, and in boxing and in like the UFC, if there's a majority draw, the champion keeps his belt, right? Because in order to take the belt, you have to
another fight, though, right?
They want to run it back, and they absolutely should. But for you, like that's what, and the biggest reason I don't really mess with Davis is because he reminds me a lot of Floyd Mayweather, right? The way he handles himself. Like, I'm cool with you being arrogant. I'm cool with you being cocky. I'm cool with all of that. Right? But when you do things like this, kind of like when Mayweather knocked, what was it, Oscar out? With that quick little, the ref separated him and then he punched him real quick and he was like, oh, you got to defend yourself and all. But that's Bush League. And you want to take a knee, damn well knowing you should have got a point, and then you want to come out and be like, "Oh, the grease from getting my hair done."
Yeah, but didn't he come out of that same camp? Didn't he come out of that Mayweather camp?
Yeah, Mayweather. Yeah. So Mayweather's been
learn from the greatest.
Chill out,
because he sucker punched Victor Ortiz too.
Victor Ortiz. That's who it was.
Yeah.
And, that just chill out with the greatest. Mayweather's not the greatest. I'll say that right here on this show.
As far as playing them tricks, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mayweather's the greatest runner, the greatest ducker. Like, man. I mean, that's not true. He's the greatest in his weight division, for sure. Like, for sure. Oh, is this the nonsense? Yeah, look at it. He goes to hug him. He's cool.
Yeah, what is that?
Bruh.
Come on, B.
And you had people defending him. Hey, we would put that to Ain't No Way too. Look, like teacher, like way to go, grasshopper. Like, man, get out of here, man.
By any means,
right? Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Well, y'all, thank y'all tuning in. If y'all haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Make sure you following us on TikTok and Instagram. Make sure, email the show for the Ain't No Ways. Holla at us if you know anybody that's looking to get their music put on, any small businesses that want some free ads. Email the show right here. We'll get it out there. We love to make sure we're helping out local and small artists and small businesses. But again, until next time, guys, peace and love.
Holla, holla, holla.